이거 뒤에 뭐 좋아? 팔모?
From one place to another. But something happens in the American and apparently the world's collective mind these days that grabs hold of symbols like this and turns them into romantic icons of the time. This is Route 66. This particular portion is in northern Arizona, the longest remaining unbroken stretch of Route 66 in the country. Lonely now, but through the middle part of the 1900s, this highway was an artery of life, throbbing with passions and hopes and dreams. A million stories heading west on what became known as the Main Street of America, Route 66 from Chicago to Santa Monica, California. Some folks already lived on Route 66. They'd put down strong roots in little towns along the road and weren't going anywhere. They watched the continuous stream of humanity roll by and made a living from it, until the freeways bypassed them and the little towns like Seligman, Arizona, began to shrivel up and die. And folks like this guy, the town barber in Seligman, spent most of his days staring out the window and finding lots of time to read the newspaper. I mean, read it from front to back twice and all the classifieds too. Well, it took a little while because he's basically a mild-mannered guy, but gradually he began to get mad. The world would soon start to hear about Angel Delgadillo. Stared out at the old highway a lot and pondered his and others along a now abandoned Route 66 fate and tried to think of something to do. He was angered that his state government and federal government would just abandon him. I mean, he paid taxes, didn't he? They kept taking his taxes, of course, but all of a sudden they just up and threw him to the wolves.
For 10 years after the bypass, it was just literally so sad. We were just forgotten by the world. If you can swim, you swim. If you can't, sink. That's the way I felt for years. It was sad. It was sad. Then to make matters worse, we lost our street lights down the main drag because our assessed valuation could not pay for the street bill. We were dark for several years on Route 66. It was literally sad.
The barber chair his father had used and passed on to Angel, and Angel had used for years, now stood empty most of the time. Route 66 had died. It had to die. It had to die because people had places to go and they had to go there fast. So they built these big, wide highways, and we rolled up our windows and turned on our air conditioners and jacked up the stereo and roared off down the 4-lane, never looking right or left.
So I called that meeting for February the 18th, 1987. Only 15 people came to this meeting right there at the Copper Cut Residence. I told them again how I thought we could gain the economy. And we just, there was about half a dozen of us. We gelled. We named ourselves the Historic Route 66 Association. We had elections. We assessed ourselves $10.
Living history.
Angel Delgadillo had no way of knowing it then, and he didn't plan it this way, but he was about to become a hero of the road. The one name most associated with Route 66 and its colorful rebirth in the eyes of millions of people around the world. This is the story of Angel Delgadillo.
This is I-40 here through northern Arizona. Right here is Route 66. Exit 139, Crookton. You can travel it for $130 58 miles, end up in Tupac, Arizona, at the Arizona-California border. Come with me, let's go look for it.
Angel and those other folks convinced the state of Arizona to designate this stretch of Route 66 a state scenic highway. And the historic Route 66 Association fired up, and the world began to hear about this lonely, forgotten highway. And they kept hearing the voice of Angel Delgadillo, a small-town barber from a small town somewhere out in those empty west parts of the United States. Somehow this small-town boy could talk the talk about Route 66 better than almost anybody.
This 66 is for people who dreamt about going to a better way of life. And here's where they darn near froze. Here's where they got so thirsty, where they broke down. And you just can't help but here I'm walking it. And boy, that 66, it's for real.
So Angel likes to get out and get the feel of the road. Likes to walk along through the ghosts of all those travelers and all those dreams and all those stories. Likes to walk down through late day shadows. Walk through the quiet. Quiet, fractured now and then by a passing freight train on the Santa Fe main line.
This is the long hill that goes into my hometown, Seligman, Arizona.
Seligman, Arizona started as a watering stop on the Santa Fe Railroad main line and then became one of those hundreds of small towns you pass through and stopped and got gas in on the way from Chicago to LA. Angel was born in 1927, almost literally on old Route 66. His parents came here in 1917, fleeing the ravaging army of Pancho Villa in Mexico.
This is the house where I was born. And you know, on the side of the building here, which was white and black.
Off a tour bus when Juan's taking the old Chevy out for its exercise, you can probably ride along on Juan's whistling, bouncy, crazy mobile billboard for what's become another icon of Route 66, the Snowcat. Juan and the Snowcat have appeared in at least as many newspaper and magazine articles and TV shows around the world as Angel has, and has gotten to the point where people come from all over the world to see Angel, then walk down the street a few yards to be abused by Juan. As Nadine here is going to find out, getting a chili cheeseburger doesn't get any easier, even after you encounter the practice doorknob.
Hey, can I help you this morning before the rain gets here? The rain? What do you have? I'm in the snow.
It's cool. Let me see, I just want to look for a minute.
Oh, you want to look before you order, right?
Yes.
Okay, we have it's a look.
It says burger and chili burger.
Oh, you can use one of them. Either hamburger or chili burger. I just forgot to put the dash in between.
I think I'll have a chili cheeseburger,
I mean,
please.
you think I have to know, man?
Okay, I will have a chili cheeseburger, please.
Madam, would you like to have everything comes on it?
这个湖泊水坝是从31年一直到35年建立起来的，在36年呢正式开放，所以历时差不多5年的时间。
We are now approaching over a dam.
Okay, to the right. 现在右手边啊 slow down as possible. Okay. This is the concrete arch dam. 这是一个钢筋混凝土项
This is
目。
the picture of over dam.
当然，现在我们国内这个三峡呢，它的宏伟程度远远超过这个湖泊水坝，但是质量方面来讲，这个湖泊水坝呢是 welcome back to Nevada。我们现在回到内华达州，质量湖泊水坝是没得讲，因为从它建成到现在呢，这个 Manhattan roller coaster at New York, or the bungee jumping at Stratosphere, the tallest building in Vegas. too much stuff to do in Vegas. Anyway, don't be late tomorrow morning. Make sure to get all your belongings. 6:40, meet me at the lobby.